Hi, Chris and Ken here from IPD, and we're here to talk to you about 240 Volvos. It's time to face the fact the 240 has become a vintage Volvo, but because of the loyal following that it has and its reliability, there's a ton of Volvo 240s still driving on the roads today.
Despite rumors that some 240 owners spread, they do have some mechanical issues from time to time, and we've put together a list of about 10 of the most common ones that 240 owners frequently face.
The 240 motor mount was a very innovative product for Volvo back in its time. Volvo was one of the first automotive manufacturers to create motor mounts that actually sheared under impact. And what that does is it actually keeps the occupants safe inside the car given a head-on collision. The motor will actually go underneath the vehicle instead of being crushed through the actual firewall. Now, having a shearing motor mount, the way that it actually acts under impact, does cause the motor mount to fail prematurely. Especially when these things are exposed to the elements, right on the subframe, open to road grime, weather. Even the oil, when you change your oil on the side of the vehicle on the passenger side, this motor mount sits right underneath that oil filter and it actually gets engulfed in oil when you change your oil. Make sure and clean this motor mount up when you change your oil or when you service your car. IPD does carry replacement motor mounts for your 240.
One of the interesting things about the 240 Volvo is that it was originally launched in '75 with the pushrod motor, then they went to the overhead cam motor, and then there were multiple generations of fuel systems on the car. Because of this, there were multiple changes along the line as the car was produced, and one of the things that was added in about 1978 was a transfer pump or a pre-pump. This is an immersed pump that goes inside the fuel tank, and it helps to lift the fuel out of the tank to the main pump. This is to prevent starting issues, vapor lock issues, sometimes hesitation issues when you roll back into the throttle. It's a common issue with these cars. It can be difficult to diagnose, but they're not all that difficult to replace and they're not all that expensive. We list these on our website.
Volvo, being an extremely conscious company about safety parts, created this innovative bulb integrity sensor. This little sensor here monitors the voltage going to each bulb, like your turn signal bulbs and brake light bulbs. If one of those bulbs should burn out, it'll give you a little warning light on the dash. This, being in line with your bulb system, can fail, and what that does, the more common symptom will be, is that you will lose all your brake lights. You can troubleshoot this. It's for the advanced troubleshooter. You can use a voltmeter, check your Bentley or your Haynes manual to diagnose this part.
A common issue that affects many systems in the car are the composite fuses that were used in the fuse box on the 240 and some other series Volvos. These fuses are A, sometimes difficult to find, and B, sometimes they'll look fine even though they failed. We do sell kits of these. It's good to keep a spare selection in your car with you.
If you're experiencing excessive oil leaks on your Volvo 240, like at the front cam seal, oil cap, or even at your rear crank seal, it might be due to a plugged up PCV system. Especially if you drive maybe a few miles to and from work, these things are more susceptible to coking up or clogging at an earlier stage than a car that gets driven on the highway each day. IPD carries an assortment of PCV components like the oil separator box, the filter holder, the flame trap, and other breather parts or breather hoses as well. These should be regularly maintained. Check out our website for applications for your Volvo 240 model.
One of the most famous systems in the 240 Volvo is the climate control system. It's also one of the most infamous for the repair and complexity of the system. The common failure is for the heater blower motor to cease functioning or to be very noisy. Now, since there have been multiple different kinds of heater blower motors, multiple different speed settings over the years, the most affordable way to deal with this situation is to simply buy a complete new set of components that go together and replace the whole system. This means a blower motor, a new switch, and the multi-stage resistor which controls the speeds. This is actually our new HD resistor we've had designed since there were so many problems with some of the ones in the aftermarket. This is a complicated job, generally takes about 5 or 6 hours, but if you're not afraid to wander into the dash in your car, you can save yourself some significant money by undertaking this on your own.
It's not uncommon to pop the hood on a 240, especially 240s with mass airflow sensors, and see this air inlet hose wrapped with electrical tape or duct tape. And the reason why people do that is because they don't know IPD actually carries these in stock and they're very easy to replace. Now, this air inlet hose, when it fails, gets these little tiny cracks around the exterior or the outside of these bellows. That allows unmetered air to come into the system, which will cause idling issues or some fuel enrichment codes on the 240 if the problem is bad enough.
The fuel pump relay or fuel system relay is located in several different places on the 240 depending on the year and model. This controls the electrical impulse to most of the systems in the fuel injection in your car. It can cause issues from no start to stalling issues, and I've even seen times when you had cars that wouldn't shut off even after you removed the key because the relay stuck. These are available for all the different models and are listed on our website.
If you're having a hard time seeing over the steering wheel, check out the seat grid for the 240 bottom seat. These things commonly fail, they break over time. We've had these remanufactured as a direct replacement for your 240 seat.
One of the most common problems that causes no starts, or as the dealerships frequently refer to them, flat toes, for Volvos of this era is the main power supply fuse for the LH fuel system. It's actually really common for these. The 25 amp fuse in them can actually melt, or if there's just corrosion where the fuse plugs into the socket, it causes no start issues on a regular basis. The original factory holder is made out of white plastic. You can take a look under the hood of your car. You can tell if the white plastic is actually deformed and is starting to turn brown, that is generating too much heat, and that's a sign that there's resistance in the connection and your fuse is gonna pop or cause other problems. We like to upgrade to these waterproof style fuse holders to prevent issues in the future.
Obviously, there's going to be a bunch of other components that could keep your Volvo 240 from running safe down the highway. We just wanted to lay out the top 10 that we have a lot of experience with and products that are readily available for you to keep your Volvo 240 running down the road safe. For more information, check out IPDUSA.com, or you can call and speak to a customer service agent at 800-444-6473.
Thanks for tuning in with us today. We'll see you soon.